What's up, guys, and welcome back to U.S. Top Abandoned.
On this show, we will talk about the top abandoned places that were a big part of U.S. history.
Today, the place we will be looking at is now abandoned, which is Toys R Us. Charles Lazarus was born in Washington, D.C., where his father, who was an entrepreneur, ran his own bicycle shop. Charles one day wanted to run his own company.
Charles helped his dad run the shop when he got older, fixing bikes, taking care of customers, and Charles was now becoming a young businessman with high hopes and a determined attitude. He now thought he was ready to open his own store.
So, that's exactly what Lazarus did. After returning from World War II, Lazarus' uncle was running a baby furniture store. Charles thought that was a great idea and eventually established his own baby furniture store.
Indeed, he did. So in 1948, when Lazarus opened his first store, Children's Bargain Town in Washington, D.C., it was for a good reason.
Lazarus knew long before the term baby boom was introduced that he was going to make a good business.
This was due to when talking to his friends, they all said they were going home, getting married, and having kids. Lazarus now knew he was going to have many customers.
Lazarus opened in 1948, only selling baby goods, but quickly realized that customers weren't coming back to buy more strollers and carriages. So with that, he began selling children's toys at a discounted price, and eventually, by popular demand, he put them into his permanent inventory that he regularly sold at his store. What made Lazarus so successful is that Toys R Us was really the first store with the most selection and for good prices. Most toy stores at the time were family-run and had minimal selection, but Lazarus was now trying to put every toy in the world into his supermarket. Lazarus began to buy so many toys and sell them as he was building his own toy empire that companies began selling Toys R Us toys for cheaper, which made their competitors go out of business. The toy building business had also moved to foreign countries, which made the toys built more efficiently and also made them cheaper. Toys R Us was also labeled the first category killer at this time, as they began expanding even more and putting more businesses out of business. Toys R Us also brought, all year round, the newest and hottest toys, which other stores weren't doing.
By 1966, Lazarus has been operating 4 Toys R Us stores, making a good profit. Lazarus sold the company to Interstate Department Stores Incorporation for $7 million. However, Interstate Department Stores Incorporation has been failing financially, and in 1974 had filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. So after this, Lazarus, the original owner, came back to take the company and renamed it all Toys R Us.
By 1978, as the company had been doing well, Toys R Us had officially went public on the stock market. They continued getting more popular as televisions were becoming more common around the United States, and the company's new mascot, Jeffrey the Giraffe, became an in-home staple for kids around the country. By the 1980s, they had 100 stores across the country with annual sales of $750 million. By now, there was really no competition left. They also introduced the electronic catalogs, giving them more efficiency than they had before.
In 1983, they expanded again and made a branch called Kids R Us, which sold only kids' clothing. This division wasn't a huge success, but it didn't stop them as they opened stores in Singapore and Canada and began to expand in different countries.
In the 1990s, Toys R Us reached a high in total sales for the year at $8.2 billion, as they now opened even more stores in other countries and kept on growing. But the 90s also marked Lazarus' last years as CEO of the company.
Michael Goldstein would replace Lazarus and start a restructure campaign as they began now mainstreaming merchandise, closing underperforming stores, and even introduced Babies R Us.
In the late 1990s, the market began to change, as well as Toys R Us's fortune. Walmart began to rise, and they offered lower prices on children's toys and diapers. Walmart was now a competitor of Toys R Us, as well as a threat. As the 90s came to a close, so did the Kids R Us division, as well as some of the normal stores.
During the holiday season, the company was still booming in sales, but outside of these months, they were losing their normal customers. By this time, Toys R Us had 1,559 stores worldwide. Here, they topped previous net sales at $12.2 billion. However, the toy company was still fine, had manageable debt, making millions on income. The only things that can go wrong is if they took on billions of dollars of debt. It happened.
In 2005, the company was bought by three investment companies, which took control of their shares and pretty much bought it for $6.4 billion. The three companies did not have this money, which meant it was borrowed, which also meant that Toys R Us was taking on about $5.5 billion in debt. This would require the company to do well in sales, which they didn't, and online buying became more common, and Target was now in the mix for selling toys. The deal with Amazon also fell through as Amazon broke their part of the deal and began selling other retailers' toys on their website.
By 2010, the company had an overwhelming amount of debt, as well as 1,600 stores worldwide. Target, Walmart, and now expanding Amazon.com didn't help matters either as they began dominating the toy business. Toys R Us in the 2010s lost $210 million for the first time ever and lost most of its holiday sales with growth of three retailers mentioned.
By 2015, the company began closing many stores, which they thought would help them stabilize financially, but it actually hurt them as they lost money on the stock market and lost business nationwide. At the end of 2017, Toys R Us officially declared for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Declaring for bankruptcy right before the holiday season also hurt the retailer, as now all three of Amazon, Target, and Walmart began undercutting their prices. Big toy companies stopped selling Toys R Us items as they feared they would not get their money back.
On March 14, 2008, Toys R Us announced it would begin closing its 800 stores left in the country, and the company would be over.
This would mark the end of one of the greatest stores of all time. We all are extremely upset about the closing of Toys R Us, as this was a staple of our American culture and childhood. The memories will always be there, and Jeffrey will always be our friend. This is Jack and Robert signing off. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, Dr. Keller's AP US History class. Please give Robert an A+.
Hi, Dr. Keller's AP US History class. Please give Robert an A+.
Hi, Dr. Keller's AP US History. Please give Robert an A+.
Hi, Dr. Keller's AP US History class. Please give Robert an A+.
Hi, Dr. Keller's AP US History class. Please.
Hi, Dr. Kelleher's AP US History class.
Hi, Dr. Kelleher's AP US History class.
Hi, Dr. Kelleher's AP US History class.
Hi, Dr. Kelleher's AP US History class.